All right, looks like we are gonna go playing some A-League match between JNails and Qsenoch. Should be a good one for us all. And yeah, spec chat's off. Looks like the players are ready. Yeah, so I think they've both had good seasons up to this point so far. They might be first and second in the division, but we're gonna see how it goes. So board one, we got knights, we got captains, we got Wolfden. Credit. Okay, so you can open Captain if you want to, which is probably fine. Captain's the only village. Like, Captain's playing Ali and Oasis are your village effect. I guess one of your knights is a village. Dame Village, whichever one that one is. Uh, I mean, Captain's a good card. It's not terrible to open. There's no trashing on the board. Um, but like captains as like rangers and stuff can probably get through a bunch of junk relatively fast. Envoy draws more cards, but in an untrashed deck, you're more likely to be skipping good cards that you kind of need. That is a thing that happens with Envoy. Like, if it's a thin deck, then, you're happy to just draw whatever and you can kind of play on, but, like, if Envoy tosses, like, your one key card to continue the turn, like, that's a bit of a problem. So, it might still be worth it. I mean, it's still, again, still a lot of cards. 4 cards of draw there. And especially if you have like enough good stuff in your deck, you're probably at least getting a captain or something else. They can't toss like, you only have 10 starter cards, right? That said, there are knights which are annoying to deal with sometimes. Um so Dame Anna is, I think, the standout knight on this one. If you can score Dame Anna, you're in really, really good shape. So you're kind of hesitant to grab the Vander. Like, if you grab the first knight and reveal Anna, like, that's always like a disaster, right? Um, as far as the open is concerned, I think you probably just open Captain. I don't know if you open with Captain, like Ali Captain. It's not of economy though. Then you're in 6 debt if you do that. Or no, sorry, you're in 5 debt if you do that. Um, yeah, and 5 debt is a good amount of debt here. Yeah. So, what are we looking at then? You could have been Courier, I guess. Courier is maybe a little more economy. So Ali is good for like sifting, and I think Ali will be strong on this board because generally you want to be sifting past junk. Ali gets better the junkier the deck is. However, Courier for some economy is nice. I mean, opening captains. I think opening captains there is quite reasonable. Um, yeah. I think both these opens are reasonable. I think I slightly prefer the Courier to the Ali, but I think they're both strong, solid opens. Um, I guess the thing about the alley is you can't bottom deck your captain. Technically, you can bottom deck your captain with the courier open if you actually bottom deck it. So that's something to think about. Envoy there was a great choice because there's nothing to draw dead. So if Mick doesn't find captain here, like if they miss the 50-50 on finding captain, I think this game is like looking very bad. Okay, does find it. Tragic Hero is, I think, totally fine. I guess the point, it's gonna pop. You're not gonna reserve the Tragic Hero very long. But yes, like now here's what I was talking about before, because if you play Captain as Envoy, there's only one card there that you want to find, which is Tragic Hero. You might still play Envoy just because getting a bunch of cards gives you a bunch of money, so you kind of like that. But there's a good chance Tragic Hero just gets skipped this shuffle if you play Envoy. I think you still play Envoy. I think it's probably still reasonable to play Envoy here off the Captain. Will we see a Knight buy? I don't think so. Like, Vander's just not the Knight. Like, it's not the one, you know. If it was Anna, I think it gets. If it's Anna, I think it's opened actually. If it's like Michael or something, I think you can consider it. Although I don't think Michael's that good on this board with like duration captains playing envoys and stuff. I think the only knight that's actually relevant here is Anna. There's another captain. I think that's completely fine too. Captains are very good here. Yes, we are envoying. I'm assuming Tragic Hero gets skipped here. I can't imagine you're going to give him the Tragic Hero. But it's fine. Take another captain here. Be pretty happy about it. But yeah, I do think you want more allies. Again, Ali's just a really good card, especially the junkier your deck is. Just because you have so much stuff to sift through. So I assume you see the ally play right now. I assume you say it now. Maybe we're thinking about delaying and just like buying Taskmaster or something. I guess if you're buying Taskmaster, you're kind of committing to buying a lot of like knights or something. Okay, the Captain Finder is really good. Probably you just play Ranger here, I would assume, as JNails. Yeah, because you don't want to draw cards, but you want to set up so you can draw cards next turn. So like now you can play Ranger again as Captain. And now you just draw 5 cards. And this Tragic Hero will pop itself now, which I suppose was the whole point of the Tragic Hero, was to pop itself eventually. Oasis Courier. Oasis Courier would be, you know, the wiki has some, you know, some wild combos in there. Hey, that's me. I'm Johns. Anyway, yes. So, where does that put us? I assume you have to be playing the Tragic Hero here. Like, there's no reason to buy Tragic Hero other than to pop it, right? I can't imagine. Oh no, hold on. You didn't play. Sorry, I take that back. You didn't play the You didn't play as a ranger, so then you can't play hero to pop it here. Interesting. Hello, Iris. 42. Solid number. Good number choice. Like, I don't think you're playing hero now. We can't trigger that shuffle, so I guess hero's just chilling out for a turn? Nope, never mind. I take it back. We are playing it. Okay, so I guess now we're just doing Tragic Hero Taskmasters for the whole thing. Alright, sure. That's fine. As long as we keep getting Tragic Heroes, we can keep these Taskmasters in play. I guess eventually you run out of Tragic Heroes. I guess by that point, though, you're probably looking at... I mean, you can always take Knights if you really need the 5 costs. It's going to be funny when you're desperately looking for 5 costs and you're stuck with Sir Bailey. Well, I guess you can take Duchy in that case, but it'd be funny. Alright, so Nick is playing more with captains, which is kind of how I thought this game was going. JNails does like to find some wacky lines sometime, though. So it looks like JNails might just be playing with just the 2 captains and then just basically piling the Tragic Heroes as hard as possible. I mean, if you're playing Captain, like Captain as Envoy or Captain as Ranger, you're going to be drawing quite a bit start of turn. So you can reliably trash these Tragic Heroes, and with at least a couple Taskmasters in play, you're not going to have action problems, so you can just keep playing them. Eventually, though, you'll stop drawing cards, right? Because you'll keep adding stuff to your deck, and then eventually all the heroes just like instantly kill themselves. So, but maybe we'll be able to buy like 2 or 3 per turn before too long. Playing with Knights is not stupid with Wolf Den. Playing with Knights is stupid just on this board. It's not a Wolf Den consideration on this board. It's just the Knights don't do a lot. Like Vander doesn't do anything, right? It might trash a card, but these decks have so many extra cards in them. Like, okay, like there's a decent chance you just flip Coppers and Estates, and then even if you trash one of their cards, well now you're just even because you bought a worthless card and you killed one of their cards, so now like you're just parity. So basically you need to trash 2 cards before it's even worth it, and that could take like 8 turns, like 5 turns or something, right? I just If it was Dame Anna, that's different because the trashing effect would be monumental here. But like Vander just doesn't do anything. We might see some knights eventually. Yeah, we might see some knights eventually, but like it might be a while. But I would not be surprised at all to see no knights gained. Or maybe like if someone gets too far ahead, maybe it's like a desperation play, you know. So I assume we're getting more tragic heroes here. Captain can just I would probably just say Captain as a ranger right now. Um, Captain as ranger is fine. Like again, you're just setting up next turn's draw. You have 12 points in hand, so like you can buy two tragic heroes right now. You can also credit for more things if you want. What's in the discard? There's just like one gold and one estate, so like you could think about playing it as like Oasis or something here, I guess. If you do hit the so it's a 50-50, right, on hitting. Yeah, Rangers makes the most sense to me, but like I guess you Oasis there had like a 50-50 on hitting gold and maybe even for like three tragic heroes or something instead. So that's probably what the consideration was. I would assume another tragic hero right now. Maybe like two Taskmasters or something. I don't think that's very good though. Maybe a second alley. I don't think you need an alley right now though. I think alley's just there for reliability. Ooh, the Ranger. Actually, I'd like that. I like the Ranger. Like having an actual Ranger in deck is good because that one draws cards without trashing itself. But yeah, I think again the alley is there for reliability and making sure your turn kicks off. But like Duration Captain does that pretty well, right? Like Duration Captain just draws 5 cards, and gives you a plus buy. It's kind of like Tactician. Yeah, JNails just feels, I think, pretty far ahead to me right now. Um, I don't know. I mean, not. I mean, the game's like still fairly close. I think anyone can win this, but I do think um, the advantage currently is JNails. It could be a combination of just being player one. It could be the strategy was a little better. Like the alley open might have been better than courier open, stuff like that. You toss the doesn't. I guess toss the gold here, right? What was the only card that makes sense to toss? No? Oh no, you did. Okay, sorry. Tossing the gold, yes. Actually, doesn't really make any difference. If you're drawing deck regardless, there. All right, hero, captain. We're doing more captains now. Captains are really good. Do you need more taskmasters? I don't know. Maybe another taskmaster, like taskmaster hero. I guess we might start seeing knights. So I was gonna say knights as a desperation play, but knights as we're out of 5 costs again. But I kind of feel like once the heroes are gone, you're probably hitting duchies instead of knights as your 5 cost gains to keep your taskmasters in play. We're crediting for that's a lot of captains. Okay, well, JNails has doubled back into the captain world apparently. Taking six step for a captain is interesting. I mean, captain's a very very good card, so it's fine, I guess. But it's a lot of debt. I don't know if I was expecting that or not. Okay, captain as what Oasis here or something? Yeah, this is the problems with courier is this current hand. But Captain's Oasis basically bails you up. But the thing is, you'd rather have um you'd rather play Captain as like Ranger or something, just to help your start of turn draw. Because I don't believe yes, only one Captain was played this turn, right? So the only way to get started turn draw is now Envoy, which again is a little scarier. But this hand here right here should be fine. You can just play your tragic heroes. But like, if you didn't see any tragic heroes, like, you're kind of forced to play Envoy, and then you might like whiff on the draw cards. Um, there's a denial play from Mick. I don't know if it's there's not much to deny in this board. Like, you have so many. There's so many different options for how to build here. Like, you can take captains, you can take heroes, you can take some rangers, right? Like, there's not you can't like deny anything on the board. Here we're looking at probably considering Envoy. There's not. So we have currently 6 of our 10 starter cards in hand. So like playing Envoy here, they might toss something good, but you'll probably get back around to it, I'd assume, and you're almost certain to get at least some good stuff out of it. The other option could be something like, yeah, like this is totally fine. You'll get back to the captain. The other option there was like play Ranger and then play Ranger with your other captain, but I think just drawing on is quite fine. That's what we're thinking about. Like, I think discard captain is kind of the clear choice, isn't it? And we're not going to discard gold. Unless he's thinking that JNails isn't going to play all the captains, but JNails will play all the captains this turn and just buy more captains. I don't. Yeah, okay, discard captain. I think that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Also, you can play Captain as Courier here if you want to pick up the other captain that just got discarded, and we do that. Okay. It's kind of a way of sneaking an extra action to the deck, at least for this turn. So here, what we play? Envoy. Here doesn't really matter. I guess you toss the alley. It doesn't really matter though, but yeah, you can toss the alley. See, like tossing hero doesn't make sense to me because then you just play the hero anyway. I guess it doesn't matter. Nothing actually matters in that particular situation. But like if you toss the alley, I think JNails doesn't get to play this gold, if I'm thinking correctly, right? Because if you toss the alley, you can play the tragic hero, but then if you want to draw the gold, no, you can still play courier though. That's true. You just play the hero and then you play the courier, and if you hit the gold, you play it, and if you hit the alley, you still play the gold. Yeah, okay. So yeah, there's no line that like changes the map there at all. Piles are quite low. We're looking at 1 hero, 2 captains. Are they so low that we want to take a province now? And I think the answer is no. I think no province yet. I could be mistaken though. Like JNails probably wants to buy a captain here. Like obviously you have to buy a 5 cost, and hero's like the reason one. I think like hero province right now I think is probably also fine. Like taking the last hero makes a lot of sense to me. The game gets a little spooky once the heroes are gone. So once the heroes are gone, right, what are 5 costs? Probably Duchy at that point, I would assume. You can also just take a captain now. I don't think. Oh, it takes an alley. And a ranger? Those are fine. I'm kind of thinking, is alley ranger better than just taking a captain there? Like, Mick is somewhat gain limited, but maybe Mick has enough gains to actually end it if you lower the captains any. Oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry. My bad. Ranger alley makes perfect sense because of Wolf Den. I was forgetting about Wolf Den points. Yeah, so now that the heroes are gone, do you consider not playing a hero just to keep it around? And the answer is nope, we're gonna get rid of our last hero. So now do we see duchies or knights? That's the question, and it is duchies. And I think duchies is correct. Well, your first duchy doesn't score any points. But then again, your first knight scores negative points, so there you go. So what are... No, there's knights are not happening. I don't think they're ever happening, but if they were going to happen, it would be a long time ago. So I think in terms of uniques here, I believe Mick has only the Duchy as a unique card, or it has two of everything else, I believe. Yeah, two couriers are in play, and all the heroes are trashed. So Mick has to worry about drawing next turn, right? So Mick has no rangers. So we're just looking at just, is it three captains? I think Mick just has just the three captains. That's actually a really scary place to be, because now Mick's draw is basically gone. Um, like, do you pick up rangers here as Mick? Pick up like ranger, something? Um, or like, I guess we'd like ranger province and just use the one ranger's draw next turn. But you only have one captain coming in play, right? Yeah, you're currently one captain in play. Yeah, this is actually a really tough spot for Mick, I think. The lack of heroes is going to be these lack of heroes and no rangers. There's very very draw limited next turn, and like look at this turn right here. Mick just already didn't draw fully through this turn, right? I would expect to see, I think some rangers, maybe Ranger Province. Oh, that Ranger Province feels a little losing to me. Takes another Courier. It's an interesting choice. Courier Province. I kind of expected Ranger over Courier there, but the Courier is fine. It's just the draw is kind of weak. Maybe like Courier double Ranger or something and not Provincing is an option. I just think you need the Rangers for draw purposes. Another Duchy. I mean, that does score the most. Like, obviously, Duchy scores more than Province right now, and maybe Mick is concerned about JNails just winning this turn. JNails has a lot of buys, but does JNails have 7 or more buys? I mean, technically, yes, but that's not true. What does it cost to pile on captains and, let's say, taskmasters? That's 15 and 12 is 27. I guess JNails probably does have 27 in the deck? Maybe? Okay, so Mick decides to just forego 3 coins and a buy there. So didn't even want a free Taskmaster, which is probably just scared. I guess it's just scared of lowering. Must just be scared of lowering, yeah. Mick can certainly consider playing at least one envoy here, maybe 2 envoys. Um, like envoy just is a lot more draw efficient than Ranger. You're just skipping some good cards, but like given 4 captains, you can play 2 envoys and then play 2 captains as like couriers to pick up the stuff that was tossed. So I think envoy right now makes a lot of sense just to maximize your draw potential for this turn. Um, you don't need the only reason to play like rangers, I think, is if you want the plus buy, and you'd be looking at a lot of buys. So I don't like. There's no way you need that many buys this turn. Like these 2 rangers right here already give you 3 buys. I think 3 buys might be maybe you want a 4th buy. But also, there's not a captain down there, so you can play more rangers. The only thing I would think is if you want to play one captain as ranger, you definitely want to play 2 captains as rangers because you want to keep the token on. Is it up or down? Whatever side that is. The green side, right? That way you can always get start of turn draw with a ranger if you need it, which is preferable to not doing that. But I would expect to see at least one envoy here. Like surely JNails can't be thinking about winning right now, so it's just a matter of like maximizing points. Interesting. Oasis. All right, so we're gonna Oasis and we're gonna do some courier stuff. Okay, sure. I mean, as long as we have the draw, we're good with that. We do have 2 heroes, right? And there's the envoy. I was kind of interested to do it that way. Like, it felt like you're just lead on envoy. If you're gonna play an envoy at all, unless there's some way to, like, maybe if you played as that and then you find a tragic hero, you don't need to play envoy. But now that you didn't find the tragic hero, you do want to play envoy or something like that. I guess. But yeah, this is all totally fine. Usually you want to play allies before you draw into them, because right now they are technically draw neutral. Well, now they're not draw neutral. But I guess if you're overdrawing your deck anyway, it's fine. Alright, so we are out of Tragic Heroes. 32. We did have a lot of money. So I expect to see one duchy, some number of provinces. Like 2 provinces here. I would expect to see 2 provinces here, I think. I guess next turn's draw is kind of spooky, so maybe you're thinking about adding an envoy or 2. I think something like 2 provinces and a ranger is fine. 2 provinces and a captain is probably fine. I don't think you're scared of lowering at this point if you take the captain, right? Like, Mick has fairly limited buys, so taking captain here is fine. So I don't know why. Yeah, there's no reason to take a ranger over a captain right now, I don't think. What else could you be thinking about is maybe another duchy, but again, I'm kind of scared of draw if I take another duchy here, I think. You could take an envoy, but then you lose 3 points, but maybe that's fine. Like an envoy is the most cards you can draw with. Just another duchy. Okay. Well, I mean, you have 1 captain coming in play. I would expect to see that captain played as ranger here, just to maximize draw. Also, the extra buys would be helpful, because like JNails actually should be able to finish here if he draws. Because there's no way Mick scores that much. So let's say Mick doesn't touch the duchies or captains, then piling just cost, what, 15, 12 is 27, which we already see that JNails has. So as long as JNails can just draw and get 5 buys, that would be a win. And I don't think there's any defense that Mick can have against that. So given the starting hand with 2 captains and a captain duration, I assume JNails just wins here, right? Yeah, and then Nick also is like kind of forced to take a duchy there just to keep the turn going, or the taskmasters going. But this is likely to be a win, I would assume. And we do play rangers, ranger. Okay, here you gotta be a little careful on on actions. So play the allies, I guess, and sift a bit. Okay, so what you can do here is, yeah, I was gonna say you can discard one of those and then courier it for a free action. Oh, that didn't quite go the way I was thinking it would go. Okay, that just draws it dead, and 26 is going to be enough, so 2 duchies and 2 captains. Yeah, I guess there's a world in which you don't draw enough money there. Is that true? Or was it already in hand? It might have already been in hand. Anyway, that board felt very player 1 just being half a turn ahead all game. And then, yeah, that's basically what happened. Alright, on to game 2. Hermit. So both Hermit and Crucible are good at trashing estates, and either can't or are bad at trashing coppers. There's no... I guess there's a village and a carnival here. There's a forge, a fawning forge. So my guess is you're opening something like double Hermit would probably be completely reasonable. I don't think the Crucible is worth it on this board. I would assume Hermit is just like kind of better. So yeah, so getting the Hermit out there is obviously we're opening 1 Hermit. That's always happening. I think 2 Hermits is probably the best open though. Just Madmen are really good. And in particular on a board like this, what the Madman can do is 1, give you enough cards to buy a forge, and then 2, give you enough cards to like very efficiently play the forge. Because the forge is the only way we're dealing with coppers on this board, right? So double Hermit gets a Madman, spike a forge, spike a big copper trash, and then you're kind of off to the races at that point. And then from there, you're playing, you can play with your farm hands and carnivals for draw. You can, maybe add a figurine or 2 if you need some plus buy, so the figurine probably sees at least some play here. Also, once the forge is done, you can use the figurine, discard the forge for the extra buy. Transmute. JNails loves transmute to an unreasonable degree. I think it's more so on ladder than in actual like league games. But I see JNails every time there's transmute in a ladder match, just like buying transmute, and it does sometimes actually work out, but it's still a terrible card. I'm expecting double hermit still. That's my expectation here. Who banned approaching army? Great question. Approaching army is a lot of the bans here. Like approaching army is just kind of weak. I think sometimes you just ban the weak things. Like I don't know, the approaching army like sometimes it just doesn't do anything at all. I think it's fine. Just ban things that have like little impact in the game. Mm. But yeah, what are the other possible opens here? Like you could open Hermit Crucible. I just don't think Crucible. Like Crucible's a little better on the collision than Double Hermit. I guess you'd also consider opening a silver. Um, you can maybe consider opening Death Card to spike a Forge. Like that is a way to spike Forge. I don't think it's good, but you know you can think about it. The nice thing about double curse opens on this board is the hermits can trash the curses. Big brain plays right there. But yeah, my expectation is double hermit, but I mean we'll see what these players do. They're both very strong players, and they might have thoughts that are different than my thoughts. Okay, we do see double hermit from Mick, and we see hermit remodel. Interesting choice. The nice thing about hermit remodel is on the collision, if you remodel a state to farm hands, you can set aside the hermit, right? So it does play a little bit nicer with collisions. Mick turn 3 does not get to trash an estate, which is bad. You don't like not trashing estates. Trashing estates is very good. 3 here on... Do we take a silver? Take a guard dog? Yeah, guard dog's fine. Okay, so it looks like Mick gets to trash that estate finally. Do you farm hands the hermit in 4 copper hand? The answer is... Maybe. Well, actually, hold on. What did Mick actually do on turn 3? Oh, Mick just kept the hermit around. That's interesting. To not take a madman with your hermit. Yeah, I think I do like the idea of farmhandsing the hermit on the 4 copper hand and then just setting it aside. But now Mick is like super terminaled, but like again, farmhands lets you be over terminaled. Okay, so yeah, I think farmhands lets you over terminal a bit more than you typically would. It's a very good village. Okay, Mick surely is taking. Surely we're taking some madmen this turn as Mick, right? JNails has a really good opportunity in this hand right here to. Actually, I was gonna say JNails could try to hit a forge in this hand, but I believe he trashed a copper, so there's only 6 coins in deck. Oh, that's right. We go to a bit of mines there. Okay, that's. I mean, it's better than the state, right? Okay, we're in trash 2 here. Um, are we grabbing madmen now? Is a state? Why would a state be? Someone explain to me why state. I guess for our model purposes. I think. I wonder if part of the idea was at least the abandoned mine is worth a coin, so it's still possible to spike forge because you still have 7 coins in your deck. Maybe that's like super unlikely though. All right, getting some silvers and some madmen, and this looks very much like a I want to spike forge play. Because I got 2 silvers and 2 madmen, so you should be able to hit forge here as JNails as soon as you see one of the madmen, whether it's this turn or next turn. Mick, we're going copper to a state, the more traditional play, and you can immediately trash it if you want to. Well, if you're gonna immediately trash it, no. Oh, wait, hold on. Never mind, did not trash it. I was gonna say, if you're gonna immediately trash it, you might as well... You might as well take a ruin because it's more fun. But if you're not gonna trash it, it makes sense to take the estate. Okay, so JNails does find Madman here. Here, I would consider just taking a Forge and not spending this Madman. But probably you play the Madman, because that way you can remodel... Actually, that's not true, because you want to play Madman into Forge to trash more copper. So I think you probably don't play this Madman. See what JNails does. Like, what's down there? I know there's just another silver down there. There's a guard dog down there. That's true. Forge is fawning. So if you drop the Madman here, you can buy Province instead, and then you get a free Forge. That said, I think just, I kind of, oh, hold on. Oh, interesting play there. Okay. So the plan there was to, in fact, get the Province Forge, but also get rid of the silver in the process. Okay. So now, as JNails, my guess is you're just going to buy a Farmhands. Like, yeah, if you're JNails, so you just buy Farmhands, you set aside the Carnival, and then you get yourself a big trash next turn. That seems to be clearly the thing to do. So JNails just seems like to be about a mile ahead, I would assume. Already has the Forge in deck. Has about to get the big trash. And Mick is still kind of putzing around a bit. I assume Mick should be able to afford a Forge this turn. Yeah, you're gonna want to take a silver. There's a lot of hermits in the deck. Like, I have some questions about what Mick is doing with this many hermits. Maybe it's fine. Maybe we're just gonna remodel some hermits, because it's a lot of hermits. Like what you could do, there's some play here. Like you could guard dog to remodel. You can hermit gain a silver, because you're gonna want to spike Forge here. So at some point you have to hermit gain silver, I'd assume. You can also remodel hermit into more hermits. Wow. All right, hold on. This is not shaping up the way I was thinking it was going to. We're getting... So is the plan here... Is the plan here to just play all the hermits and take all the madmen next turn? Maybe... I guess there's a world in which Mick is just skipping the Forge and playing with just... Like, you don't buy anything here, obviously, to take all the madmen. Alright, Mick is just playing... Mick is just playing this game like a madman. We'll see what works out. It's an interesting strategy. The problem is, like, when you play like the Madman Hermit thing, like you can't buy cards, right? So you need enough things to do with your turn that isn't buying cards. So the remodels are something to do with your turn, but they're not incredibly strong at like adding utility to your deck. That said, well, yeah, Mick has a plan. The plan is to play a bunch of Madmen, a bunch of Hermits, and some remodels. And then just keep doing that every single turn. The nice thing about remodeling the province there is you get a second Forge, which means you can now remodel the Forge later on, too. Province and repeatedly gain Forges and provinces in Meg turn. Yeah, I mean, something like that will work. You need to get that first province, which is kind of a long journey, though, right? It's gonna take some time to get the first one. So farms into gold. Okay, so now this turn you should be able to get the gold to province. And then remodel. Yeah, so if you just remodel forge to province, remodel forge to province, remodel forge to province, right? You just keep getting forges off that. And then you can get away with never having actually buying any cards, so you can keep the hermit plays going. So I think this is an interesting strategy. Is it going to work out? I don't know. We'll find out. Are you supposed to play? Are you supposed to play the forge this turn or not? I guess you have you might have the actions for it. Like you might prefer to play an extra hermit, play more hermits, just get an extra madman rather than playing the forge. But forging coppers in a province into province to gain another forge is definitely a useful play. Alternatively, you gain like 2 silvers. So like let's say you gain silver, play madman, then you can forge silver estate and gain a province that way. Although I guess we're out of actions for that, aren't we? Because we had to play the madman after 2 hermits, and yeah, we're short in actions to do that line. All right, looks like we're stopping there. I mean, it's weird to not play the madman there. Like, because if you play the madman, you get it back because you play an extra hermit, right? But it also lets you play the forge. So like, I don't. What is the benefit of not playing madman there? I'm confused. Why would you not play madman? I don't see any pros not playing madman there. Am I missing something? Like all it does is cost you a forge play. All right, models forge province. Certainly mixed deck is a little more reliable. I assume Mick can take 4 provinces here, right? Is that true? Remodel forge to province, remodel forge to province, forge province to province, buy province? Yeah, this works. Okay. Wow, neat line. I like the play from Mick. Alright, the big madman mega turn ends up working out. Province, play the madman. You do need to at least get 1 more silver. So at the very least, hermit yourself no, that's not true. You can also just like forge twice. Alright, that's fine. I was thinking you just gain a silver and buy a province naturally, but you know what? This also works completely fine. So, very nicely played by Mick. Yeah, that Fawning Forge definitely has some interesting applications. All right, looks like we're all tied up. Player 1 has won both our games so far. Now, on to this one. It's a Shaman game. My guess is you open Broker Shaman. Broker Shaman just seems like the very obvious open to me. It's really hard to not open 2 Trashers on a Shaman board. Just because, especially like with, they're only 1-card Trashers, right? So like if they had like a Chapel or something, you can maybe get away with only needing 1 Trasher. But Broker and Shaman are both single-card Trashers, so I think it is necessary to open with 2 Trashers, and you basically just want to prefer, like, Broker's just better than Shaman, right, in general. So I would assume Broker Shaman's the only reasonable open. Now that said, which one's Mason's? Mason's is, yeah, Broker also lets you do more Masoning, which lets you, basically accelerate your shuffles and see your Trashers more often. So yeah, that Broker is going to be really good. Broker is usually pretty good. Broker is a fairly good card. Just the flexibility, like yes, it's a single card trasher, but the flexibility is really nice. And if you have like at least a decent, what is this thing called? The Order of Masons? Order, there's a word for what this type of thing is called. I don't know what it is. But Masons is pretty good. It lets you do some stuff that you can't otherwise do. And it does accelerate a lot of decks. That said, JNails is thinking quite a bit here. Or, I guess, okay, I said you open Broker Shaman, and I think you do on the 4-3. On the 3-4, you can consider transporting a Broker, but I don't think that's very good. Another possible open, I guess if we're thinking about this, another possible open is Broker, like, Transport Tactician or something. Or, like, Transport and Expand, maybe. I guess Expand is up there. So if you could also, like, double Transport Expand. I don't think it's very good. I think you have to open Broker, though. I don't know. Not opening Broker seems weird to me. Okay, opens Broker, which I think clearly the best play is open Broker. I think the second one has some options. I think Shaman is best, though, but I think you can at least consider transporting. Um, but I think it's just Broker Shaman. Now the question is, how many estates do you toss? Because Broker really wants to find estates, right? But at the same time, if you toss all the coppers, you might just draw a hand that just can't afford anything. That said, I do think you just toss coppers here. I think you're happy to Broker estates, and you can hit 2 and still buy Shaman, right? So it's not like hitting 2 is a tragedy on this board. Okay, so it looks like JNails splits the difference and gets a copper and a state in the discard. So Mick also takes the Shaman open. Let's see if let's see if you see a copper state also. And Mick does the 2 coppers, which I think is completely reasonable. I think 2 estates would be clearly wrong, but I think both 2 copper and copper state makes some sense. Here, I think you can very easily justify taking favors right now, because again, favors let you cycle your deck a lot faster. If you take coins, you can pick up like a charlatan or something, which is fine. But like on shaman boards, giving out a curse versus trashing a card is like actually fairly equivalent sometimes. So like you might be happy to just take another shaman and take some favors and keep your deck moving faster. Either that or you transport. Again, expand is probably quite good here. I do think Tactician will definitely see some play here. Okay, I guess Tactician's already, sure, which I think is totally fine also. Tactician's a good card. Alright, so JNails is happy to Tactician here. And we'll see at least a double trash this turn. I think you draw before you take a card, right? Yeah. You don't want that card in your draw pile. Oh, sorry, triple trash. What am I saying? Here, once again, you're brokering an estate and you're drawing cards. Okay. So here you're trashing, I think you probably just trash the estates, right? If you're trashing estates, you don't have estates for broker to kill, so maybe you're thinking about trashing copper here over estate and taking. Also, expand likes the estates better too, so I don't think you're taking. I think probably taking another tactician though. You could transport the tactician, so you can guarantee play next turn. You could also just take like tactician, shaman or something. Patrons are also pretty good. Oh, this is a nice hand. Like, okay. So I was going to say you could top deck the tactician to make sure you play it this turn, but you can also just draw the tactician and then do it that way. Yeah, so okay. So the real answer is just get lucky, I guess, seems to be the superior strategy. All right, so obviously JNails has to trash this estate for actions in order to play the tactician. So Mick, um, I think you just take the favors there. Oh, no, sorry, takes 2 coins for a tactician. Yeah, it's fine. Mick will follow suit, play tactician. All right, JNails now gets some patrons, so an extra couple coffers is quite nice because like last turn you could if you had sorry, not coffers, villagers. Because last turn if you had the villager as JNails, you could have played the broker for something other than actions. All right, play those, play those. At some point, JNails does want a second tactician, but I mean, you've already got one tactician. Do we want what? More patrons? Are we happy with our level of trashing? I mean, you can consider taking a charlatan at some point. Bottom deck tack? No, JNails only has one tactician. There's no more tactician down there. So it looks like Mick has the second tack in play faster. Which is going to be nice. I don't know what the deck states look like. I think they're probably both roughly equally trashed. So does Mick want to save a villager? I don't think you do. I think you're happy to just go ahead and take coins here, maybe? I don't know. What do you with 6 coins? Like patron shaman, maybe? Yeah, I could see taking coins here and going patron shaman. That's probably fine. Although we might have enough trashing that we don't need more. Costs like a second broker. More brokers are good. Broker can do quite a bit of work for you. All other options are things like transporting expands. Taking actions here, saving the villager and buying another broker, also totally reasonable, or another patron. I guess the question is, does Mick have enough trashers in deck with just the 2 shamans and the broker? And the answer is probably yes. Like, you should be getting through most of your deck every turn and trashing more than you're gaining. All right, with 5 here on, I don't know, is it like the charlatan probably is too late to have any like meaningful impact. I think the decks are in a good enough state that you're probably not meaningfully hurting your opponent by taking a charlatan. So yeah, journeyman for a little more draw I think makes a lot of sense. This is a tricky board to figure out what the long-term plans look like. Because you'd really like to put platinum in your deck, but with a double tack deck, you can't like meaningfully use the platinum unless you want to broker them. JNails did bottom deck. Yeah, JNails bottom deck both tack. Oh my goodness, are those the last 2 cards are both tacticians? Yikes, that's a disaster, right? Both those cards on the bottom there are tacticians. That's really, really, really bad. Oh no, you don't like to see that at all. That's really sad. Um, yeah, that's gonna be um yeah, that's gonna make JNails pretty far behind, I think. Yeah, I think at this point, before that, I think JNails was at least on par with Mick. That's pretty close, but I'm pretty sure JNails is now behind because that's a really, really unfortunate situation. I'm kind of assuming we're drawing cards off this broker. Unless we want to, again, we could do actions. Maybe do actions. All right, fine. Take some actions, and that way we preserve some villagers. Maybe we do need to preserve some villagers because there's a journeyman in the deck now. Which is probably fine. But yeah, this game is, I think, over. I'm pretty sure this game's over. I think what do you do? Transport a patron or something? Yeah, okay. But yeah, this game's not looking good. Not looking good one bit. All right, so as Mick here, you're looking to keep pressing forward. I guess you want more patrons because they're one of the few things you can add to your tactician deck to keep it going here. I guess another option is if you can build up enough villagers, like you get rid of the tacticians and you just play with like journeyman stuff. You can get some actions out of broker, but like you're mostly brokering estates and stuff, which is just an necropolis at that point. But it does let you play with like platinum, which is honestly the primary reason to not play double tacticians on this board is because of platinum. If it was just a province board, like I think you very clearly are happy to just play patrons and tacticians and stuff. Maybe throw a charlatan in there just for economy. But probably not. I think patrons at least is non-terminal. But because there's platinum on the board, you might at least consider playing without tactician. It's probably still too slow. Like here, you're gonna play tactician and then take 2 more patrons is probably fine. Maybe one more broker. Actually, no, sorry. Mick needs another broker, I think. Mick only has 1 broker. Yeah, I think because at this point, broker. So shaman trashes non-terminally for 1 coin, which is okay. But broker. I mean, okay, if you broker 2 estates, it's the same thing as shamaning 2 estates, like because you're taking actions and then coins. Um, but also I think you. Yeah, I think you just take the broker. No, make us take 2 patrons. That's fine too. Um, we're gonna run out of. It's fine. I guess the journeyman can get you coffers, right? So like the journeyman does get you coffers eventually if you have enough patrons. So that's actually some extra money that we have available. That said, looks like Mick has 6 patrons and JNails has 4 patrons. Um, Mick is also. What does JNails have? JNails has an extra broker. And that's basically it, actually. So I definitely like Mick's position here. JNails is at least a half turn behind, I think, at this point. Wait, hold on. No, sorry, I take it back. It's 5-5 on the patrons, right? Because there's 2 patrons in exile there. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, sorry, it's 5-5 on the patrons. Okay, actually, I take it back. If there's 5-5 on the patrons, this board is definitely closer. Both decks are very clean. I think all the coppers are basically gone. You'll just be getting estates at the very least. There's no reason not to gain estates. Over, like, why would you get a copper when there's estates in the trash? It's kind of sad because you'd like to broker good stuff, but if you broker anything good, then your opponent just takes it, right? Um, so, you gotta be a little careful what you're brokering. I think are all the estates in the trash right now? Yeah, 14 estates in the trash. So my guess is they just start taking estates and then if you're Mick here, I think you're supposed to trash 1 more estate. Play the shaman, but don't trash, and then play the 4 patrons. Because you can't trash both estates because you do in fact need to have something around for the tactician to discard. And that gives you how much money? 8. Yeah, just don't trash here. That gives you what, 12? All right, is it time for just like the colony? Are we doing like a single colony situation here? Looks like it. Looks like it. There's no third buy, right? Except no, broker gets you more buys. Okay. The main thing JNails has going currently, I think, is the extra broker can give you a little more flexibility in the end game. Like certainly you can. You can try to like mill some colonies. Um, it's a little hard to mill colonies. Also, if you can build up enough coffers, you can try to double colony that way. Like, surely this is a colony also, I think. And then save the coffers. But the extra broker can give you a little more. Like, you can use one broker for buys and another broker for, like, milling a colony or something. And then you can maybe do, like, a triple colony if you have enough money for that. But it's a little hard to actually get that much money in your deck. Maybe JNails is thinking about expand right now, like a little more flexibility. The problem is Mick right now can probably reliably single province and then have like the double province threat if you're gonna broker a colony. So if you single, you're ahead on points, and so JNails is in kind of a tight spot there. On the other hand, if JNails takes colony now, you might still be in a tight spot. Because again, mix singles, you single. So you're down to 6 colonies, do it again down to 4 colonies. Mix singles, there's 3 colonies. And the question is at that point, can JNails triple colony? And it might depend on how many coffers you get, right, at that point. Because then if Mick single colonies, then Mick just wins, right? Because Mick can buy colony, mill colony. So like under that like continuation events, then Mick just easily wins, right? So the question is there anything that JNails can do now to kind of speed up the process of this? And it looks like JNails is not following into single colony. We're going with another journeyman and expand. Okay, so we are doing more gainers and a little more draw. So JNails are trying to build a bit bigger and hoping to effectively outcompete the single colony with the double threat from Mick. I think that's probably reasonable. Again, I think if you follow into single colony, I think JNails just loses. So I don't know if this is likely to win, but definitely feels like you kind of have to do something like this. That said, Mick has not found any coffers yet, which could end up being relevant. Like, you kind of wouldn't mind some coffers around for like a little extra stuff you can do on your turn. I don't know, Mick's playing these patrons very deliberately, but like what he did was, I think, the only possible play you can do, right? All right, so journeyman. This journeyman should get. Well, I guess the patron could be bottom decked, but I guess the second journeyman can draw it instead. The problem with what what JNails is doing is, I shouldn't say problem, but the thing to consider with what JNails is doing specifically, is you are going to run out of villagers before too long, right? At some point you do run out of villagers. Because you're trying to play more actions. But you have 6 villagers stockpiled, so maybe that's enough. Taking a charlatan. I think the charlatan is just broker food, right? I don't think the charlatan gets played. Never mind, it gets played this turn at least. Okay, maybe it'll be broker food eventually. I don't think the curse is like incredibly relevant there, but I guess it is 3 coins. Like, there's no world in which Mick doesn't just trash that curse, like this turn. Again, like, JNails can fall further behind on the provinces by continuing to build. I just don't know what we're building into at that point. Also, what about, like, Colony Broker right now? I could see Colony Broker being a good play right now. Yeah, you're burning your coffers, that's fine, though. Like, I'm gonna Broker in the deck. Curse is extra money? Curse isn't extra money, you're just trashing it. I mean, you're not, like, Mick has no use of extra money, right? Mick has, like, 12 coins in the deck. What do you use extra money this turn? Basically nothing. So you're just gonna trash it. Like, Mick's plan, I think Mick's plan right now is pretty clear. You're just gonna go colony, 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 and when there's 2 colonies left, you can buy colony, mill colony. Like I don't think Mick's kind of locked in, unless you get a bunch of coffers, then maybe you could consider doing a little bit extra. But as it stands right now, I think Mick is pretty much locked into like just buying colony every turn. And really, it's at this point, it's what JNails can accomplish. So like if JNails doesn't colony here, we're down a lot of points, which would be a very scary place to be. We're doing colony and we're transporting exiling a charlatan. Okay, so we're taking a charlatan over another broker. What does that get us? I guess it just gets us a cheaper charlatan, because at some point you're probably going to expand a state into charlatan, having more charlatans in the deck, and then you can broker the bonus charlatans. So I guess it's just a way of getting a little more value in the deck. I will say Mick is having a real hard time getting any coffers at all. Oh wait, hold on. Mick is... Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we're clearly trashing there. We're clearly trashing you for... I guess actions is fine. It's not doing a whole lot, but it's fine. And... again, we're just taking a colony here. So right now it's a... Okay, so let's kind of count this out from JNails' perspective now, right? So JNails takes a colony here for sure. And there's 3 colonies left. Mick takes a colony. And then... So yeah, here's what happens, right? So JNails takes a colony here. Mick takes a colony, and I think Mick does actually mill the colony this turn. The reason being that it just removes points from the board, right? So like if JNails takes a colony here at 20 points, Mick takes a colony and mills a colony, 40 points. So JNails is down 20 points with 1. Actually, no, that doesn't work actually, does it? Because JNails can take colony province, right? You got the expand, you got the broker. Yeah, actually, oh shoot. And if Mick doesn't mill the colony and leaves 2 colonies in play, then JNails just double colonies plus a state and wins. Okay. I do not see any way that Mick can win this game currently. I think this is just JNails' game. Yeah, it kind of feels like it, right? I'm not sure what the... I think JNails just has too many options for ending the game. Honestly, Mick... I think it's a good point. I think Mick actually... I don't know, because if there's 3 colonies in the pile right now, can JNails triple? I mean, JNails can triple, yes, but can they triple without milling? You can mill 1 colony, so like you can at least mill 1 colony, but you still need to buy like colony naturally or something. I don't know. It's an interesting thought. Yeah, maybe milling last turn from Mick was correct. Because the current state of the game is Mick just loses, right? So even if there was some risk by milling a colony that turn, I think you can still maybe justify the risk just because of how bad of a shape you're currently in as Mick. Here, do you take like another journeyman? Because JNails is gonna want to make sure you draw next turn. And like an extra journeyman's fine because you can just broker it if you need to. Well, triple was certainly possible, right? Like triple was doable. The question is it triple without milling? Because you can basically mill 2 colonies, right, as JNails. Right, you expand a colony to colony, you broker a colony for money, and then you play your other broker for buys, right? And so you can technically like do that. But if you mill 2 colonies, can you then score enough? And I think the answer is probably no. That said, I think Journeyman right now is totally reasonable. I think you can consider, like, yeah, I think nice about the journeyman then is kind of, you just want to make sure you draw. And if you have extra draw, which you probably will now, you can just broker the journeyman for some value. Now we're in a weird spot for Mick, right? Because JNails can absolutely just double colony. So you're absolutely just going to double colony here for sure. I don't know. Oh, so like, if you just take colony and you don't mill, I think that's bad because you're leaving an extra 10 points worth of stuff on the board. So it certainly feels to me like you really need to. Oh, also, Mick takes a charlatan. Interesting. Okay, hold on. Does a charlatan change the math here at all? Here's the thing. If Mick had some coffers built up, Mick could maybe, like, true double, which would basically be winning, I think. As it stands right now, let's say you, as Mick, let's say that you take 5 coins off the Tactician. How much money is that? That's going to be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, no! I think you're 1 coin short. Is that right? Because Journeyman here will get 1 coffer, right? You get 10 coins. You can get 10 coins. Let's do the math real quick. You can get 10 coins off of patrons. You can get 5 off of broker if you broker the Tactician. So that's 15. Shamans make you 16, 17. Journeyman gets you an extra coffer, right? So that's 18. And instruction is 3 coins, so that's 21. Wait, hold on. Does no, never mind. JNails did not actually give out a curse last turn. Because I'm gonna say actually, you might be able to get 22 if you have the curse money, but you don't have that. Okay, so 21 coins. That's a real shame. Because 22 here and actually just being able to buy two colonies would surely be winning, right? Yeah, like if I think Mick got really unlucky with the coffers. Like certainly if Mick had got a couple coffers stockpiled, like this would be a much, much better position. Okay, so we're getting a gold here. Is that enough money to double here? If you broker the gold, oh, that actually does work. Sorry, I take it back. Mick found a line. Because you can broker the gold here for extra money. It gives you the extra money over the Tactician, right? So I was saying you're 1 short, but this line here does actually make 1 extra money. So yeah, now you double province, or sorry, double colony. Yeah, I think that was a good find. I was thinking we were 1 short, but Mick with the butterfly comes in clutch. So now there's some problems for Mick, which is there's no Tactician in play. So Mick might not be able to colony. I mean, seeing the hand here, we know Mick's not able to colony. But from JNails' perspective, right, Mick might not be able to colony, so JNails can play for an extra turn, potentially. So yeah, I guess from JNails' perspective, if you have to look for a win here. But if you don't find it, you kind of have to play to set up for next turn. That said, what does it actually take to win? So colony, let's say you trash this curse for a point. Let's say you give out a curse for a point. Okay. How many provinces do you need is the real question. So let's assume the curse just switches sides, which can definitely happen. What's in the trash? Is a charlatan in the trash? I assume you just take the charlatan, right? No, maybe take the gold. No, I guess you just take the gold. It's better, right? Okay. No. Mick. Yeah, so Mick is Mick. There were plenty of outs for Mick. Like all Mick needs to actually win this turn would be a broker and a colony, which isn't unlikely at all, right? But it's definitely not a guaranteed at all. And so I'm not sure what the odds are of Mick actually finding the broker colony, which is probably the main way you'd be able to win from here. I mean, technically you can find 11 coins, but that requires like 4 patrons and a charlatan or something, which is like incredibly unlikely. Found the journeyman, it makes it a little easier. But broker colony gets you there too. Um, so yeah, so JNails can JNails win this turn is first question. So let me go back to counting column provinces. So if we're coming down 30, we're down 20. If we're down 20 points, you need what, 3 provinces? Nope, you need more than that. 3 provinces and a duchy. How do you get 3 provinces and a duchy as JNails? In addition to the colony, I don't think you do. Certainly you can expand into province. That's fine. It does gain the gold. I think gold makes the most sense there. Charlton's terminal. Yeah, I agree with Haka here. I don't think JNails can win this turn unless I'm missing something. So I think what Mick did was clearly the correct play. It just didn't work out. I think there's a decent chance for Mick to win this turn. Like either finding broker or journeyman. I think finding either broker or journeyman would have won the game, but missing both of those I think is gives JNails an extra turn, and JNails can absolutely win with an extra turn, right? That said, JNails still has to be looking for a win here because JNails does not know that Mick dudded. So, given that, where do we stand? All right, if you were to win this turn, what would that look like? Again, you need colony like 3 provinces and a duchy, and you need to probably trash this curse. Yeah. So obviously you can expand tactician into province. That's if you're gonna win this turn, that's probably one of the things you're doing. You have, in terms of money, you have five patrons. You also need buys, so like you need to broker something for buys. You don't need that many buys though. So like you could broker. I guess even brokering shaman for buys is enough, right? Okay, well if you're gonna win this turn, you don't. I guess maybe Mega Man trash curse. It's just a question of like you're losing coin by trashing curse, obviously. But is the point more important than the coin? And that is an interesting question. So again, money wise, we currently have 10 patrons plus a charlatan. Okay, we're going for it, apparently. Maybe JNails found the line that works? Oh, you can return expand for problems. That also works. You take the duchy that way. Okay, does this work? Maybe JNails counted it out. I thought we were probably short, but it looks like this is enough then, right? Because it's going to be butterflies instead of provinces. Okay, that was actually a very cute line. That's a lot of butterflies. I was expecting you to buy some stuff, but apparently JNails decided you can just butterfly everything, and that's enough money. Okay, so it turns out that I think Mixel did the correct thing, but it turns out JNails' deck was just good enough to win regardless. So, honestly, I think we've rolled some really good kingdoms, and also these players have found some really, I think, nice decks. So, I expect nothing less from this caliber of player. But definitely some very, very fun boards so far, so I'm excited about that. Sometimes you see really boring boards, and you're just like playing money something. But so far we got a cool Madman deck, we got the cool Butterfly, Broker, Tactician thing there, whatever you want to call that. Anyway, moving on. Tactician's back. You could certainly play double tack on this board. You're looking at like cabin boys for money, you're looking at jesters for money, you're looking at treasuries for money. That said, what's the upside of playing tactician over not tactician? I guess buys are kind of iffy here. Like you can scrap for buys, but scrapping for buys is always really sad. Like you can technically do it, it's just kind of annoying to work with. If you don't do scrap, right? Or so if you're doing like just like that for buys, And even in the double attack deck, you're still scrapping your buys, right? But if you don't play double attack, your draw is Lost Cities. Um, yeah, I don't think I don't think double attack works here. I don't. Maybe. So with double attack, it's always a question of like what's the efficiency of getting money versus draw from treasures versus not treasures, right? So I guess you can launch, right? You can launch tacticians. Okay, so yeah, sorry. I completely skipped over launch existing. Um the launch lets you actually play treasures with your double tack deck, which actually just makes it, I think, clearly correct. Yeah. I should probably look at all the things on the board before I start talking, right? Yeah, launch is really good with tactician. Sure. So we're playing double tack or some version of it. What are the opens here? Scrap is an obvious open, and Ironworks I think is also. Is it obvious? Maybe, but definitely very good because you don't mind getting Cabin Boys. Cabin Boys are solid cards. They're kind of like Double Peddler, but you have to wait a turn to play them. I mean, you can use the gaining effect too, but you're like gaining tacticians probably fine. Hireling, I don't think. I don't know. If you don't play with tactician, maybe you can justify playing like Cabin Boy spam to get a bunch of hirelings and draw that way. It doesn't sound super exciting to me. So I don't. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think hireling's probably not very good here. There's also Void. How does Void interact with tactician? So like, you can do like a weird double tack deck where you basically play tactician. As long as you have some way to like set up the other tactician on the voyage turn, you can basically just like do it that way and only play with like a single tack in the deck. So basically voyage tack. I don't think there's a way to. Is there like a scheme or something? Maybe you could make that work. And then just use the voyage turn in that way. That said, you can play with voyage in the traditional double tack as well, as long as you find the tactician in your 3 cards, which maybe is risky. I don't know. Way Shadow. Oh, just thinking the ways still exist. Yeah, unfortunately, ways don't work like that. Um, I guess Golem gets around the voyage stuff, right? I don't think you ever bother playing with Golem, but I mean, it does get around the voyage stuff. No, yeah, I think you're just playing double tack here, doing some launching. You might as well put a voyage in the deck. Um, yeah, Golem Tech is a classic. Launch kind of gets around it sometimes a little bit, but probably a real problem. Um, Sometimes I remember like all the classic decks from like the isotropic days. Just so many fun classic decks. Golem Tack. Okay. Anyway, keep thinning copper. Copper is pretty bad in this deck. Um, we do see some tactician gains off the Cabin Boy, which is totally fine. I also think Cabin Boy is just okay to have around as like a delayed double peddler. And like what else are Ironworks gaining? Maybe an extra scrap or a voyage or something, but for the most part, you're just gonna be gaining a bunch of Cabin Boys and having them in your deck. And you only want so many tacticians. And you probably don't want hirelings. Like here, I assume you just launch right here, right? There's no reason not to launch and see what the next card is. Or is there? Like if you find anything useful, like a voyage, yeah, there you go. Perfect. Do you play the voyage here? Um, it's kind of awkward to play voyage. I think you don't play voyage actually, right? Because what do you do? What do you do next turn if you play the voyage here? You only have one tactician in deck. So, with the voyage tack, this is backwards, right? Because you want to play tactician on the voyage turn. You don't want to play voyage and tactician on the same turn. If you were playing some weird voyage tack thing, because you're gonna get, hey, here's all my 10 cards, and I can only play 3 of them. Cool. All right, game more Cabin Boys, totally fine. Here, I assume you are. This is your Voyage turn. I think you're playing Jester, launching, and then playing Tack. Voyage gets you more stuff. It's more stuff. It's always more stuff. All right, we played what? We played 2 cards. Just play Tack here. Okay. Right. So like, what Voyage got you there was a Tactician in play, which seems like reasonable to me. I don't think you always play the Voyage. You have to like be a little strategic with it, but I think you can make some value adds from Voyages. Okay, at some point you do want probably some Lost Cities in this deck, though. Um, I don't know if you need a ton of them, but like we're still kind of struggling-ish to draw. Tracer. The butterflies. Butterfly in the sky. So yeah, thin coppers. You do love the thin coppers here. Oh no, sorry, that's a state stretch. Or sorry, you prefer the thin estates more, but the coppers are not good. Scrapping coppers is annoying, but like you still have to do it, but you still don't feel good about it. JNails has 1 tactician, right? I think Mick has the 2 tacticians. I assume you buy tactician here. I don't know. You have 1 tactician in your shuffle. Maybe you don't. Maybe you buy like a Lost City or something instead. What's in the discard actually? Is there a world in which you tactician launch and you try to actually play the tactician? The discard has at least a copper, and I can see the copper. And there's a no, good silver. I guess there's like a 50-50. Like if you had gained I guess we're gonna launch here and go for it. If you had gained a horse instead of a silver, I think you could have guaranteed this tactician play, right? No, I take it back, because if you did that, then you don't have any money to, because then you're short 1 coin, so you can't actually tactician launch. You could have gained horse coin. I don't know. All right, currently there's a silver down there also, so maybe yeah. I guess you could have gone the silver route instead of the, or sorry, taking the horse instead of the silver, and maybe then had a better chance at tacticianing that turn. Anyway, I guess it's actually fine that you didn't find the tactician, because at the very least you get to play tactician on your voyage, which is another way to sneak the tactician into play. Okay. Yeah, I think not finding, I guess with the voyage, not finding tactician there is totally fine. And then what launch does is also make sure you top tick the tactician, so you're guaranteed to find it on the voyage turn. At this point, the Ironworks are probably just gaining Cabin Boys. Like, again, just delay double peddler, totally fine in a tactician deck. Discards old map, which cannot be gained. Alright, we're gonna do this. I wonder if it was correct to, why did we play, I guess there's a tactician down there, right? So if you tactician, you want to make sure you have as much money as possible. You could, I was thinking you could consider keeping a silver instead of a copper just in case you draw scrap. But I think just scrapping the copper is not unreasonable. Just because, again, copper is, it's pretty gross. You don't want it. You don't want it around. Now we're thinking, like, surely you're just playing this scrap here. There's not, like, any other, like, why would you do anything other than play scrap right now and trash a copper? Like, do you want to play the copper? I can't imagine you want to play the copper, right? I guess if you play the copper, you get what, like Lost City scrap? Yeah, okay. The only thing, I think you can keep the copper to buy another scrap. I just don't think that's, like, anything you care about. At some point, these decks will actually fully transition into your typical double tactician stuff. They're still a little inconsistent just because the trashing is really slow. But at some point we'll catch up. You can also get some lost cities. Again, just a little extra draw can be nice for some reliability. I don't think you need a lot of lost cities in this deck, but probably a couple lost cities is going to be necessary at some point. Unless you're thinking hirelings as some extra draw. Mm, hirelings, I guess hirelings are better because of Voyage, but they're also like more expensive and they're slower to put into play. But they also don't draw your opponent a card. Also, you can Cabin Boy into hirelings. I don't know. Maybe the hirelings are fine. Um, but yeah, like if you are doing Voyage stuff, like you absolutely must positively find Tactician. Within those three cards, right? So if you have to play a bunch of Lost Cities to find your Tactician, it's really sad. Hirelings, however, don't have to get played. They're just there. They're just always there for you. So maybe we do play with hirelings here, given that we're doing some voyaging. What does your voyage turn get you? I mean, it might get you like a Jester play. It might get you an Ironworks play. Um, it might get you an extra scrap. I mean, it's not like you're not getting a ton out of your voyage turn, but you're getting a little bit. All right, surely we are scrapping a state here for at least an action. Card action makes the most sense. Nope, never mind, not an action. Oh, sorry, I'm wrong. There's no way you want an action there just because you have launch for an extra action. Launch is a village. Okay, like here you can take a Cabin Boy off the Ironworks, I assume. Um, you're playing the Voyage. Are we scrapping this silver? You kind of want to scrap a copper, but it's kind of awkward. If you launch, because launching costs you 3 coins. I mean, you could just scrap a silver now, I guess. You're not getting much out of your launch at this point, though, right? Yeah, I think this is fine. Just launch now, and then scrap a copper, play Tactician. You have 3 coins for, I guess, another scrap. Sorry, never mind. 2 coins for nothing. That makes more sense. Okay. Okay, so we do find the Voyage here. Sorry, the Tactician here on the Voyage. Um, I don't know. I don't think getting hirelings is unreasonable, but also the money from Cabin Boy is actually probably pretty relevant as well. So I kind of feel like maybe you prefer just having Cabin Boys in your deck than hirelings. Um, it just feels like the hirelings doesn't do enough to justify all of that. Don't play Tactician here. That was 2 cards, right? Yeah. So like, what did the Voyage get us? The Voyage got us a Cabin Boy. So I mean, I guess that's something. Um, I think what you need to make sure you're doing though is lining. Actually, hold on. I know what Voyage does. Voyage lets you play all the Cabin Boys on the. No, that doesn't work either because you can't play that many Cabin Boys on the Voyage turn. Never mind. The Voyage just kills all your Cabin Boy money. That doesn't work at all. Never mind. I take it back. This Voyage is so awkward. Because what you'd like to do is have the money on the non-Voyage turn. That's not true. I guess if you're on the Voyage turn, you can. Let's say you play all your Cabin Boys on your non-Voyage turn. Then on your Voyage turn, you get to just buy some stuff. Yeah, I guess that works. Okay, I take it back. That works. Just play all your Cabin Boys on the non-Voyage turn. That said, JNails should just play a Cabin Boy on the Voyage turn, which I guess is still fine. But I guess you'd rather like lump them together or something. Although I suppose it's kind of you're gonna naturally be playing your Cabin Boys on your non-Voyage turn anyway, just because you're gonna be very limited on what cards you can even play. So like here as Mick, I assume you're playing Jester. What else we play? We played a horse. No, we played a Cabin Boy, and I had to play Tactician. All right. So again, the Voyage turn isn't getting a whole lot. I still think it's probably worth it because it is consistent in getting you like maybe an extra gain or something, which is again, it's not a lot. It's not like a very super impressive, thing to be doing, but I think it gives you at least a little bit. It's probably time to scrap the ironworks, right? Do we care about ironworks, or do we want to gain more silvers? I guess getting silvers is okay. Um, but you're somewhat action limited until you actually get some lost cities in the deck. Okay, so now so how many cabin boys you got played here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so like the voyage turn is gonna be. I think this is the main thing the voyage gets you, is you you basically get your cabin boy money every single turn as opposed to every other turn, which I think is actually a pretty significant benefit. So I think of all the things you can get off the voyage, I think that is like clearly the main thing you're getting is the cabin boy interaction. So yeah, I was thinking about hirelings at some point, but I think they're just very clearly bad compared to just the money from cabin boys. All right, getting some sunken treasures in play. The sunken treasure, that's a really, I don't. So like I like sunken treasure in the deck, right? But the problem is you can't actually play it this turn unless you don't play tactician, right? Like the only way to get sunken treasure in play with tactician is if you launch after playing sunken treasure, but you already launched, so you can't do that. And you can't play it on the voyage turn, because you play it on the voyage turn again. There's no, I guess you can. Yeah, get some money. Okay, never mind. You can do some launching, I guess, to still play something treasure on the voyage turn. You should have the money for it. Okay, now we're running into the problem I was thinking of, which is you might not find tactician on your voyage. So what do? Do you play horses in hopes to find your tactician? Well, okay, fine. You apparently just find it regardless. So I guess here's you're playing a scrap tactician. Like scrap the ironworks maybe is okay. Um, like obviously you're playing the tactician every time. I guess. I mean, I don't know. Can you consider not playing tactician here? Like, at what point do you get enough stuff in your hand here that's worth not playing tactician? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here if you don't play tactician, right? Like you get the sunken treasure, you get a bunch of money, you get a lot of money. You get to play more cabin boy, you get to scrap some stuff, you get to draw on with your horse. Wait, hold on, sorry, this is the voyage turn. Never mind. I take it all back. I forgot there was a voyage already. My brain keeps short circuiting apparently. Is the voyage turn. You can't do very much. You're playing tactician. That said, you can actually get the sunken treasure, right? So like, if you wanted to, you can place. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you just launch back into the action phase. Um, is that better than like you had one other thing you can play? So the one thing JNails decided to play was the sunken treasure. Um, is that better than playing a scrap? You know what? Probably. I guess. Does take a hireling the old-fashioned way, which is gaining it off of a sunken treasure. All right, so Nick here obviously at some point will launch this turn, but you probably want to draw on further before you launch, just to get as many treasures as play impossible. Are we scrapping this ironworks? The real question. These jesters have been so bad. I think. Hold on, has anyone gained a card off the jester yet? What does JNails Jester hit? Did JNails play a Jester? Sorry, JNails doesn't have a JNails Jester. Sorry, I thought they both had a Jester. Discards a horse, discards old map for nothing, discards cabin boy for nothing. Hold on. Hasn't been a single game. Hold on. Plays a Jester. Alright. So, cabin boy for nothing. Oh, silver. Okay. Nick gained a silver on one of the Jester plays. So of the 4 Jester plays, we are 1 for 4 and actually doing anything with it other than being a terminal silver. Alright, looks like we're still doing ironworksing. Oh, we're getting more ironworks. I wonder if we're getting ironworks with ironworks purely for the No, it doesn't make any sense. What are we doing? Why do we need so many ironworks? What are we doing with those? Are they like I guess just scrap targets for later? Maybe they're just scrap targets for later. I mean, here I suppose you just kill a copper, unless you really need a coin and you can scrap a scrap. But again, copper's just really bad. All right, what did we take? We took a distant shore. Distant shore is interesting. It is a lab, which is good. You want labs. It gains you an estate, which is unclear to me if that's good or bad. Because you can scrap it for some value, but it's also like an extra card you have to draw. And these decks aren't like, again, as we're seeing currently, we're not drawing great. So, once again, we have this problem of, do we fish for Tactician, or do we just make the most out of this turn as is? Okay, bad. Play Distant Shores and hope for the best. Hey, we found it. Okay. And you just play Tactician, because that's your third card. Alright. These voyages, are they good? I don't know. I think they're still good. But they're definitely very awkward. Like, I don't know, do you consider getting a third Tactician just so you can make sure you draw one? Yeah, they are very scary. They're very high risk. Not high risk. They're like medium risk, medium reward, I think. Maybe they're high risk. Like, what happens if you take one turn and you fail to find Tactician? Does that just like do you just like lose the game at that point? Maybe. So in that case, it might just be a high risk play. The reward's not terrible. Again, the reward gets you like a lot of extra money into Cowboys. So again, not a terrible reward, but I think as the decks get cleaner, if you can get like maybe an extra hireling or two in play, like I can imagine a world in which the risk goes down. But like look at like Mick's last turn. You found Tactician at the last moment there. Um but again, as the decks get cleaner, it gets I think just a lot more likely that you're not gonna miss Tactician until you start greening. But this board, I mean, at some point we have to green, right? It just feels like that might be this might be the kind of board where you kind of just build and build and build, and then did game 3 piles without ever like meaningfully greening. All right, so this actually I'm surprised by this play. What I was expecting to happen was a launch. It's like if you launch before you play the hireling, you can sunken treasure for another hireling, right? I was kind of expecting that. Um, yeah, I'm actually really surprised that we didn't sunken treasure for another hireling right now. Maybe we want to sunken treasure for something else, but it just feels like this is your last chance to this is your last chance to transfer sunken treasure for a hireling. Um, and again, the hirelings are fine. They definitely help the voyage turn. Because again, you're desperately searching for that tactician. Like what do you sunken treasure now? You can't sunken treasure a lost city. You can't. I mean, you can take like a treasury or something. Actually, I think no. Yeah, I think it's actually really really bad that you didn't take a hireling off this sunken treasure. That's what I think. We didn't launch already, right? No. There's too many treasure out there. Yeah, that actually seems really bad to me. Like, what are you sunken treasuring for if not hireling? Like, what could be better than that? Distant Shore, really? And Distant Shore next time. You don't need to get now. Unless we're just planning on not launching. I guess you don't have to launch. But if you're not launching, then presumably you're playing the scrap to trash a copper or something. Oh wait, hold on. Did we get a hireling? You just bought the hireling? What? JNails. JNails. Why did you buy a hireling? You could have just gained a free hireling. You could have 2 hirelings right now. You could have so many hirelings. But instead you have Distant Shores. Alright, there's no way Distant Shores is better than hireling, right? Am I wrong about that? I don't know. That's fine. I could be wrong, but I feel like that was just a misplay. All right, so we draw 7 cards here. And no Tactician. Although at the very least we can't actually miss Tactician here, right? Play the Lost City. Or play Distant Shores first. Yep, look at that. Jeez. I think you play Distant Shores over Horse. Or to an old map. The question is, do you want an estate in your deck or not? You could also... Because if you had found a Tactician, you can launch and like play the Sunken Treasure. You can still technically do that, but then if you bottom deck the Tactician on the 50-50, you just lose the game, so probably don't launch. I guess you can just play, I don't know, Distant Shore. I think the estate is probably good to have in the deck. Like, you're not failing to draw next turn, right? Like, you're not scared of not drawing. So I'm going to guess... Like, you can only scrap so many things, and having a estate to scrap is, I guess, fine? Like, what else are you scrapping? You only have one or two coppers left in your deck. You can scrap some silver. At some point, you do want to scrap the... Oh, wait, hold on. I take this back. Sorry. I think playing the Lost City was wrong there. I think the correct play was to play the old map. Because if you find a Tactician off the old map draw, then you can play the Sunken Treasure to gain a Lost City, right? Or maybe you just prefer to gain a Distant Shore over Lost City regardless, though, so maybe it's fine. JNails, what have you done? Why? JNails! JNails! Why would you do that? That's just... Alright, hold on. What's the upside of... What is the upside of launching there? Like, okay, you find Tactician. It gets you 1 extra card play, but what is that? Really? It just cost you 3 coins, right? So it cost you 3 coins to for what upside? Like trash a copper or something? Is that worth the upside of 3 coins? The 50-50? I don't know, maybe. That seems like a weird play to me. I'm not sure I get it. Okay. So, at the very least, JNails deck is significantly cleaner than Mick's deck, I believe. Mick has all these Ironworks, and I'm kind of confused. Unless Mick is going for like a pile out or something. Like, if Voyage was Outpost, then I can kind of understand like having all the Ironworks, so you basically get 2 real turns. But it's not like you can like, it's not like you can lower and then like get a nice pile out on your Voyage turn. Like your Voyage turn at most is like a couple games. That said, is there a pile out here? What a great question. Presumably you take a bunch of Ironworks. You would need to take a lot of... the only pilot that makes sense here is Ironworks and Estates. That's 9 gains. 9 gains is a lot of gains. Also, like, Mick can't draw very well here, right? This Jester has been so bad. Like, what if this Jester was a Lost City? I mean, the game state would be a little different, right? Because you'd be playing Lost Cities instead of Jesters, and there's differences in money and output and stuff like that too. But yeah, I think tracking the Jester now is the correct play. Oh, Jester. Did almost nothing. Okay. So like, there's no way you're piling out from here, right? Like you don't have the actions for it. Like you can Ironworks for some estates or something. You have 3 buys. I guess you're gonna launch. I guess if you stop now, you can Sunken Treasure to gain an Ironworks. So that's an extra gain off that. You do have a Distant Lands down. No, you already played your Distant Lands, so there's no more state gain. Does it for sure win? It's really close, I guess. like you get the extra gains on the voyage turn. So we're gonna just launch here. All right, you're gonna gain at least some states here because you kind of have to keep going. Again, you're gonna gain a state here because you kind of have to keep going, right? So let's say you Ironworks. Okay, if you Ironworks, I was kind of expecting not to scrap there. I was kind of expecting iron. I would have stopped and thought about that more, right? Because Ironworks or two Ironworks, Voyage. Yeah, I don't scrapping the Ironworks there was I would have thought Nick just like kind of did that right away. I would have thought a lot more about that. Because if you Ironworks to Ironworks, play Voyage, Tactician, discard the scrap, then you're looking at buying like 2 estates, and then your pile has. I think yeah. Do we play? We have a guaranteed 2 buys next turn, right? So like, let's say you don't scrap the Ironworks there. Let's say you Ironworks or 2 Ironworks, play Voyage Tactician. You have at least 6 coins and 2 buys coming in, which is Ironworks estate gain, right? And then you just need to find like just like 2 Ironworks or something to win the game. Yeah, I think this might still win, but it seems a lot worse than just playing Ironworks as opposed to scrapping the Ironworks, right? I think there's still a good chance this wins, right? Because you take 2 estates now, and then you're incredibly likely to win on your Voyage turn because you still need. Because you have what? How much money's incoming with the Cabin Boys? 6 coins incoming. You have the 2 buys. You just need to find an Ironworks. Just find an Ironworks and you win. But like, I feel like it was almost guaranteed if you don't scrap, right? Okay, that wins. That's enough. Yeah, I think maybe this line was always just likely enough to win anyway, but it does feel to me like it was actually 100% to win if you just don't scrap the Ironworks, right? And this was like maybe like 90% to win. Again, 90% to win is still pretty good, but it's worse than 100%. Okay, I think it's 2-2 now. I think player 1 has won every single game. Is that correct? So JNails will hope to keep that trend going, and Mick will hope to, break the point. Okay, we are looking at outpost shenanigans. We got crew for draw. We got a hunting party for draw. We got workers village for buys and actions. We got border village for actions. We got treasure map for economy. We got leprechaun for whatever leprechaun does. And we got plan for trashing. Is plan the only trashing? Well, okay, the only trashing you want to have. Rogue trashes cards, but not your own. Leprechaun can trash if you get a bad hex, but usually that's not helpful. So, how do we feel about opening plan something? Like, what are you planning though? It's nothing good to plan right away. Like ultimately you want to plan, I don't know, like a hunting party or something. You could think of opening like plan. No, I don't think opening plan does anything here. Like obviously you want to plan something eventually, but oh, we're going to plan. Okay, so JNails going to open workers village. So I guess the plan here, no pun intended, is to hit 5. Okay, I was gonna say if you hit 4, you just get to workers village trash again. If you hit 5, you get to actually think about your turn. The risk of opening, I think, that particular line though is this current hand, which is 3 coppers and your 2 of those shelters. Because now what do you do? Like you can't. I guess 5 silver. It's probably fine. What are the odds of? Oh, we're just moving the plan already. Okay, sure, that's actually fine. And I think you're almost like you're not guaranteed to hit 6 that turn, but you're very likely to hit 6 that turn. So now, oh wow, we got an outpost already? That was a quick outpost. Okay. What do we take, a hunting party maybe? Yeah, I don't know about that outpost, that was really quick. Maybe it's okay. I don't know. Mick doesn't have a plan yet. JNails has 2 plans. I think Hunting Party there is very reasonable. Oh my, JNails. JNails is drawing incredibly well, I think. Immediately drawing the Hunting Party there helps a ton. Although I guess drawing Hunting Party or either of your villages is actually both pretty good. Because, again, the crew gets top decked. This is a board where you might want maybe 2 crews. It's a little awkward with Outpost to have too many crews, because you're only drawing 3 cards. So, like, if you don't find a village... But if you have enough village density, it's probably fine. That just draws deck. I assume we're taking another border village here. Trashing the OE. You're not trashing a copper. There's not a world in which you can meaningfully trash the OE later, is there? If it was in Necropolis, I would say differently, because Necropolis might be worth keeping around for, like, just a village effect or possibly Leprechaun shenanigans, but I can't imagine you ever need to keep the OE around at that point. I think Outpost there makes total sense. And, yeah, so JNails will probably draw a deck this turn again, and we'll probably get the Trash and Warmer Copper. At some point, JNails doesn't add, like, more money to the deck to be able to afford border villages, but I think at this point you can still add more consistency. Maybe you want to add a rogue already? I don't know. It looks like Mick is just going to not draw cards. Also, Mick's Outpost was buying a Leprechaun, which is fine. Leprechaun on this board is reasonable. Oh, we did not draw a deck. I guess we... Oh, we can't even get a trash in. Missing the Hunting Party was really bad, apparently. That's fine. Border Village and takes a Leprechaun already. I think that's totally reasonable. You play the Border Village first, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Border Village Leprechaun. Oof, do you? That's a spicy shuffle to trigger. There's 4 coppers in there. The Border Village can draw itself. Yeah, okay. So it's only 3 top-decked coppers? 3 top-decked coppers is a lot of coppers to top deck. Is it worth it for a gold and a wish? Maybe. Take another village here seems totally reasonable. Alright. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. It actually wasn't as bad as I was thinking, because the Border Village was down there, and Border Village crew will draw. But if you had drawn your Border Village as the 1 in 5 chance, there's a 20% chance to be very, very, very sad. But given that the Border Village was down there, at the very least you get to go start the turn with Border Village crew. And this turn is looking pretty solid for JNails. Should be able to get another Leprechaun. Yeah, that's guaranteed Leprechaun there, and you get to wish for another Border Village. Which will get you another trashing done. I assume you're wishing for Border Village. There's no way you're wishing for... okay, hold on. I guess there is... We didn't discard a copper, right? Oh, you did. Okay, yeah, sorry. There's no copper down there. So, wish for Border Village guarantees you find the outpost, right? There's no way to... What's down there? Outpost and... something? Workers Village. Yeah, why did we... Hold on, why did you wish for Hunting Party? That didn't make any sense. JNails, why did you... JNails, let's have a chat. Why did you wish for Hunting Party? Please explain that to me. JNails, did you just not know what your deck had in it? Apparently JNails just didn't know what the deck was. That's fine. But clearly you're supposed to wish for Border Village there. Second crew makes sense. Okay, well, wish for Border Village here, surely. Wait, hold on. Does crew not work on... Wait, crew... Why does it say crew will stop functioning after this turn? What does that mean? What is this? What is this chat log? I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's another Leprechaun activation. JNails has gotten pretty lucky on finding these Leprechauns at the right time. They're not lucky. I mean, deck is... At very least, JNails has trash cards, and Mick has trash 0 cards, so... Sometimes you make your own shuffle luck, which is having just a clearly better deck. What's the last card in the deck? Is it a gold? I think it's gold, right? So you draw the gold. I mean, clearly you draw the gold. There's no reason to top deck a gold. Oh, we were thinking about the gain. Hunting Party is actually totally fun, too. Here we take a border village, trash one more. Mick can just resign this game, I think. This game is, you know. Do we move our plan token? Or are we happy with just the 7 trashes? I think we're probably just happy with the 7 trashes. I mean, maybe we can consider moving it to trash the last 3 copper, but that's fairly expensive at this point right now. And, like, Hunting Party deals with 3 copper in the deck pretty well, regardless. I just don't see how Mick plans on doing anything at all this game with 0 cards in the trash. Okay, so Mick now has 1 card in the trash. Like, are we doing more trashes here, I guess? Okay, so Mick is only 5 cards behind the trashing now. Also way behind in hunting parties and border villages. Does have a seller now, I guess, which is fine. Seller's a decent card here. 1, 2, 3, 4. The hardest part of Leprechaun is just counting. Counting to 7 is apparently harder than I always think it's going to be. I mean, we can consider just the awkward thing about 2 crews. Actually, now that I think about it, is if you had to lead with hunting party, you will skip one of your crews, which is a little unfortunate. But I mean, it's probably fine. At the very least, if you're starting your turn with a hunting party, you're probably finding a village, but like, you might not. All right, does JNails bother with changing the plan? You can. It's not. I think Rogue at this point is probably not unreasonable either. It can only do a little bit of damage. It's not an incredible attack or anything here, but you know, if you hit a hunting party or something, you're really happy. Okay, we do take the Rogue, and we hit the board. Oh, actually, hold on. I take it back. We don't need to move the plan. We just need to rogue some border villages. That's the real plan. Oh no, we're moving the plan. No, that's fine. We're gonna trash 2 copper now anyway. But I will say, getting that border village out of the trash to trash a card would have been fun too. Okay, does JNails just win this turn? And the answer is probably yes. I assume it's yes. Also, you can rogue to gain a border village, gain a workers village. There's no way you don't have enough money to buy 3 workers villages in a point, right? Yeah, okay, this is very clearly enough. Okay. Well, first player continues to impress. So, can Mick salvage the 3-3 as first player? Can JNails get the breakpoint on the match? Let's find out. On what looks like a Mastermind wall board. Broker is back. So Broker is back. I do think Broker is actually a very strong card. What does Scribes do? Scribes is fine, sure. Scribes can do some work for you. I think you open Broker here. Ultimately, we're going to be playing for... I think this is probably Merchant Guild Megaturn. You probably want, like... I guess you want some loots in the deck, but you're not doing, like... I don't think you need, like, to go heavy on loots. I think Merchant Guild's going to be your main source of economy. And you're playing with Masterminds, obviously, on this board. The problem with, like, loots and stuff is I think Wall is going to hurt the big deck. And so, like, the Merchant Guild deck can actually play a lot thinner. But maybe it might be the case that Wall is just not that relevant. It might be the case that you're just, you know, on the turn you win, you buy, like, 17 provinces, and you know, then who cares about wall at that point? But wall may or may not be relevant here. Not well, we'll see how it goes. But some boards wall is incredibly relevant. Some boards it's not relevant at all. I'm leaning towards not relevant on this board, but you know, again, like it might be some small considerations. The broker open's pretty obvious to me. I think silver is the other open. You could think about like tracker, for instance, can kind of high roll. Some certain things. I don't know if tracker is worth like the. Is it worth the terminal collision risk? Is it worth the risk of missing 5? I don't think it is. I think 5 is. I think hitting 5 here is really, really important because there's a lot of really strong 5s. So I think just open silver and play it slightly safer. You can consider like a sycophant. I guess with scribes, like the sycophant might be. The problem with sycophant usually is it's really bad at hitting 5. It's good at hitting 4, right? But if you can draw a card after playing sycophant, then maybe it becomes actually pretty good at hitting 5. Maybe. I think silver is just correct though. I don't. Yeah, you can think about fancier stuff. At the end of the day, though, I think silver is just correct. Here's JNails. Do you risk drawing? The only way this goes bad is if you draw 2 estates exactly. But if you draw 2 estates exactly, your next hand is 5 copper. So I think you just draw here as JNails. I don't think you can. Yeah, I think drawing here is just clearly correct. Unless, hold on, the other option is if you take coins, you can stampede. If you take cards. No, if you take cards, you can still stampede. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, like there's no world in which drawing is not correct here, right? Unless you're thinking of favors. But then your odds of missing 5 are significantly higher if you take favors and just draw 1 card as opposed to drawing 2. I'm trying to think of any world in which drawing 2 here is not correct. The wealthy village. You can wealthy village already. Again, there's a small chance you hit double estates off the draw, but it's pretty low. You know, someone do the math on that one. I would be surprised. Yeah, okay. I would be shocked if JNails didn't draw 2 cards there. Is mostly what I was thinking. And then same thing here. Is Stampede better than Wealthy Village? The main benefit for Mick taking Wealthy Village is you immediately shuffle, whereas JNails would not have immediately shuffled with the Wealthy Village. That said, I think Stampede is just incredibly good. And here you can actually just draw that last card if you want to. Or you take money here. You can take money. If you take money here, you have 10. And you're taking 2 merchant. Okay, so we're just gonna go straight to Merchant Guild. I was kind of expecting. I don't know what I was expecting. The Merchant Guild's good. Merchant Guild Stampede actually is really good, right? Is that the new Merchant Guild? Yeah. So the Merchant Guild is quite good already. JNails. All right. Does JNails draw a card off this Merchant Guild? Because if you draw a copper, you are incredibly happy because you can stampede at that point. There are only four of those cards. So JNails is more than 50-50 to hit the copper. And I think if you do hit I think it's worth the risk to take the card and draw. Like if you hit the copper, like you stampede and you are kind of off to the races. Oh wait, did Mick bottom both estates? Oh no, that's really bad. Wait, hold on, no, stop. Don't broker the broker. No, don't do this. Don't do this. Oh, I don't like that. Maybe this is fine. I was thinking you broker the silver and then draw the estate, right? For the other broker. So broker the silver for actions? And then kill the estate for something? Obviously, you lose in a silver in your deck, but it's not like silver's that good, right? At this, I like silver was just there to kind of bootstrap you, but like at this point, you'd have enough stuff in your deck, you don't need to be bootstrapped anymore. I think you're supposed to, yeah, I think you're supposed to basically trash a state. Trash a state, trash silver. I think that's what you're supposed to do there. Does draw the copper. Oh, JNails. JNails, you can't keep getting away with this. JNails. That's so lucky. By lucky, I mean 4 and 7, but still, it's the disparity in those two turns between Mick missing both his states and then JNails finding the copper, I think basically makes this game not over, but kind of over, right? Like this game's over, right? I think this game's over. Take actions, play your merchant guilds. Do you take Stampede here again? I think you take Stampede here, obviously. And then you spend your coffers on more Stampede? Or do you take like a something else? I think just more Stampede makes sense, yeah. This game is just dead, right? Like, like Mick can resign. This is so bad. Poor Mick. That was just a huge disparity in draws. But yeah, this game's over, over, over. That said, JNails does need to add. So JNails would love a mastermind. The main benefit of mastermind, obviously, is that you get to have more actions in your deck to play more merchant guilds, right? The drawback of mastermind is it limits how many merchant guilds you can put in play if you still want to do stampedes. Now, you don't have to keep doing stampedes. You can switch over to other buys. But my guess is the deck you want to play is maybe 1 broker and 4 merchant guilds and play without mastermind. I actually think no mastermind is correct, right? So broker for actions, like you broker, let's say, a horse for a bunch of actions. And then you're playing with four merchant guilds, and that's your 5 cards in play. Right? Yeah, I think that's correct. I think no mastermind is correct. The mastermind doesn't actually add to your deck enough. So here, like here, you just broker the silver for actions because you don't want silver in your deck anymore. We're doing a horse. Why are you killing a horse? Do we need the silver this turn? Like my guess is you're taking Merchant Guild, Stampede. No, 1 more Merchant Guild, right? Province already? I don't. Why would you take Province over Merchant Guild? I guess because you have a billion coffers anyway. Does it matter? Sure. Why not? I guess. Yeah, sure. That's fine. I was thinking we just build from our turn, but I guess we're gonna partially green. Oh, Mick, 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 Mick! No, it's so bad. Mick is struggling to draw here, and it's really, really sad because this is a fun board, but like Mick, it's not fun when you just don't draw. Oh my goodness, Mick bottom decked. This is really, 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 really bad. I think you just take. You can't even draw because you already spent your favor, right? So you can't actually even draw anymore. Oh, Mick, I'm sorry. This is one of those games where you're like, hey, this is a fun board. I wish I got to play it, you know? Sorry, Mick, but this game was just a free win for JNails. Like, there's just nothing you can do about it. I guess you're stampeding and taking another merchant guild here, but like, I wonder if I don't know. I wonder if like why would so can someone explain to me why we're trashing horse instead of silver? Like clearly like I mean the silver does make you 1 coin, but you're, I don't know. Trashing horse over silver just makes no sense to me. And we've done it twice in a row now. JNails, why are you doing this? JNails, why do you want, like, clearly you're playing as a fourth card here, pouch over silver, right? JNails, can we have a chat about why you're trashing these horses? It doesn't matter, because you've very clearly won regardless. It just, clearly you should trash silver. That's all I'm saying. Why are we playing copper? What is happening? Oh, sorry, the auto buy. I don't know. Can someone explain to me if there's any benefit whatsoever about trashing horse over silver? Because I certainly do not see it. Like, especially as you add provinces to your deck, right? You're gonna, like, fewer cards in your deck is good. But whatever. I mean, it doesn't really, probably doesn't matter. I assume it doesn't matter, but in a closer game, it absolutely would matter. Yeah, classic Stampede wallboard. I do think, obviously Mick has had just the most abysmal draws and has basically no chance of winning. I do think the mastermind was a mistake, though. I think it was clearly a mistake. I think what JNails did was just take the merchant guilds, and that was just the better thing to do. But I mean, not that it matters. Like, you can make that slight mistake. Yeah, like, I think Mick has seen enough of whatever that nonsense was. Anyway, congratulations, JNails, on... Wait, Mick's reporting. That's breaking protocol. JNails won the match, right? Okay, well, Mick's reporting regardless. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. Congratulations on our players. Played some very strong Dominion, and sorry to Mick for getting absolutely boned in the last game.